Venezuelan soldier shot in Region 1. Granger invites small parties to join coalition. And sugar workers get a one-off payment. I am Noriko Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Yesterday, the police in Region 1 returned a Venezuelan soldier to his colleagues after he was shot the day before at Impetero Landing, Northwest District. According to the cops, 28-year-old Lieutenant Edmundo Luis Berti Garcia, a Venezuelan National Guard stationed at the border, was shot and injured by two other Venezuelan nationals on the river. Lieutenant Garcia supposedly busted the two men smuggling weed upriver earlier in the week. They were arrested and subsequently released. So when they saw him driving by on Saturday, they shot him. He was closer to our side of the river, so some public-spirited onlookers decided to take him to the Mabaruma hospital. While at the hospital, he himself requested to be taken back home for further treatment, to which the GDF obliged him. Good thing he'd survived, though. Could you imagine having to explain to Venezuela that it wasn't our fault? Head of Aaron's Royalty, Jason Aaron, was arrested this morning in relation to an offense under the Cyber Crimes Act. While they did not specify what exactly that offense was, unfortunately, I know for a fact that it wasn't naming your company a stupid name, because I would have definitely charged them for that if it was. Anyway, Aaron's Royalty is the company that is at the center of the Guy Oil fuel import scandal. According to Gordon Mosley, the investigation may be in relation to a number of recordings that Aaron made during his meetings with Guy Oil officials about the fuel import agreement. Some of the recordings were released after Guy Oil initially claimed that there was no agreement in place with him. Aaron has accused a number of Guy Oil officials, including a director of the company, of seeking a multi-million-dollar kickback over an arrangement to supply the company with a shipment of heavy fuel. The GEA has since seized the fuel shipment, claiming that Aaron didn't even have the proper licenses to import the fuel. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George has reaffirmed what we already knew. The PPP won the election in accordance with the current laws of this nation, meaning that in less than a span of 1 year, APNU got told that they lost for a 7th time, for those of you keeping track at home. Today, she dismissed their second elections petition, which accused GCOM of illegally issuing the recount order. But Chief Justice Roxanne George found that GCOM did not breach any law. The Chief Justice also added that they did not present any real evidence to even support their case. But while the leaders consider further ways to waste the court's time, a small group of APNU supporters decided that destruction of public property is the most appropriate response to the ruling. Not at all has since accused the leaders of the coalition of giving their supporters false hope, something that I agree with fully. Continuing with APNU news, Granger is giving all small parties the invitation to join his dying coalition. Granger said small parties should not arise like a Jumbie umbrella and then disappear. But because of their small size and small finances, they often aren't able to sustain themselves once the elections are over. In last year's elections, the 7 small parties received a combined total of 8,000 votes. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is this 2010 Toyota Hi-Ace Super GL. It comes with push-button start, all seats, sliding glasses, dual AC, mug rims, new tires, CD, stereo, reverse camera, and much more. Buy cash for $3.6 million, all paid down as low as $1,440,000 down, with around $76,000 monthly for 3 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit their showrooms at 171 Peter Row Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Noriko sent you for this sweet deal. The police have caught the man wanted for the April 21st fatal shooting of a dingo Anthony Haywood in Charleston, Georgetown. Lenroy Michael Ford was arrested at Devil Hole in Region 7. Oh my, what a name, Devil Hole. Anyway, the cops said Ford was arrested by police with the assistance of 2 rural constables based on intelligence received. A female is currently in custody for allegedly harboring the wanted fugitive. In another story that ends well, remember the Tushao from Chinese Landing that had his boat stolen a couple days ago? Well, it turns out that the police have found it, and the people who allegedly stole it. Over the weekend, police received a tip concerning the stolen boat and engine. They found it in the possession of a shipbuilder in Baltica who claims that a couple asked him to change the color of the boat. The woman with the couple claimed that her two friends gave her the boat to sell and she had no idea where it came from. Nevertheless, the boat builder and the female who brought it to him are presently in custody at the Baltica police station. On Friday night, Glyco announced that workers would be given a one-off payment calculated at 5% of 6-month salaries 2 years ago, following talks with a government delegation led by Guyana. The 6-month increase for workers totaling 200 million Guyana dollars was approved for 2019 and is expected to be paid soon. Jagdeo's office said increased wages and salaries have already been paid to workers for 2020, and so negotiations for 2021 will be addressed at a later date. Gawu on Friday said during the discussions, the parties agreed that the 2021 negotiations would be addressed after the union submits its claims and the corporation has been able to evaluate the submission. Take advantage of huge discounts this Easter at Cellular Plus. Get the DL3 Pro Plus for $16,000 or the DL3 Pro for just $11,000. With prices like these, even your pet could have a smartphone. Get this deal at Cellular Plus Digicel stores in the City Mall, Starbucks Square, Massey Providence, and Massey Durkheim. Offer valid while stocks last, so don't miss out. It's now time for today's Rona Report. Today, the nation recorded 51 new cases. There are now a total of 287 persons dead, with 16 persons in the ICU, 1,499 persons in home isolation, and the total number of confirmed cases in the nation now stands at 12,754. So, please people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. Now, let's take a look at news in the region. In Trinidad, instead of enjoying his earnings, a 72-year-old man who won 900 Trinidadian dollars after playing a mark was beaten and robbed. According to reports, the man went to a local food establishment around 6 p.m. in Port of Spain, where he played a mark at Play Where. I guess that's how it's pronounced. I don't know how you Trinis play your lotto. But anyway, Play Where and won $900. After winning, he reportedly bought a drink to celebrate, and around 6:30, he left the restaurant. Soon after, a man approached him and dealt him several blows to the face. The victim then fell to the ground, and another man kicked him before emptying the victim's pockets and removing the winnings, as well as a cell phone. Robbery season might be over, but the streets are still mean. If I were you, I would consider getting security for the home or business. I personally recommend Sheriff Security Service. I find that they are the most professional, with well-trained armed or unarmed guards. Get some security, people. Cuba and Iran's Rona vaccine has just entered its 3rd stage of clinical testing and will begin mass production in June. According to the developers of the shot, it can combat several mutated viruses. Earlier this month, a senior official at Iran's Food and Drug Administration announced that the country will produce and distribute 2.5 million doses in late spring. He added that the 3rd human trial phase for another Iran-made vaccine named Coviran Barakat will also end late in spring. And now for our weird news story of the day. On Saturday, hundreds of people with the first name Josh gathered in Nebraska with pool noodles for a battle royale that began as a joke on social media. 22-year-old Josh Swain said he was bored during the pandemic in April 2020. So as a joke, he sent a message to a few random people who shared his name and challenged them to a duel in 1 year's time in a Nebraska park. Well, as it turns out, 1 year later was this weekend, and Joshes from across the country met at Air Park where they brawled as onlookers with other names cheered from the sidelines. But they also managed to do some good along the way. Together, the Joshes raised more than $10,000 for the Children's Hospital charity, and they collected hundreds of pounds of food for local food banks. However, when the smoke cleared and the brawl ended, it was 5-year-old Lincoln resident Joshua Vincent Jr., who was dubbed Little Josh by his peers, and he was crowned as the ultimate Josh. Oh, what a time to be alive. Attention truck drivers. Hammer is one of the leading international brands for heavy-duty truck parts. Get high-quality brake pads, air valves, bearings, and clutches for all DAF, international freight liners, Bedford TM, Scammell, and lots more truck parts seen here. This nice lady is not included. Get it at Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Parts at 1161 EE Eccles. Call or WhatsApp 697-0171 or follow Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Parts on Facebook. Moving on to our Uncut News Views poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in the nation, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So you give your responses in the comments and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Friday's question was, how should the government encourage growth in the hemp sector? Jay Jairam said, the government should try to locate lucrative export markets. This will motivate local farmers. True. Grant said, they should subsidize sugar workers to grow the hemp with direct weekly payments on plots of land now occupied by the money-losing sugar estates. After harvesting the crop, farmers should keep the profit they earn after paying back their subsidies. Farmers that fail to pay back the stipend should be dropped from the program and forfeit their land to the productive farmers. I like that idea. I think that's a great idea. And finally, Troy DeWeaver says he's got the answers. He says, let me in and I'll create 50,000 jobs with hemp. Troy, I hope you're serious, because you know we can use every job that we can get down here. So for tonight's question, Granger has offered the small parties a space in the coalition. Should they take the offer or not? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in Tuesday's episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Enrico Bulford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.